Decide to change. The moment you stop negotiating with your old self is the point where transformation begins. Most people spend their lives living in a constant negotiation with themselves, making excuses for why they can't do something, why they can't be better, why now isn't the right time. That negotiation is a trap, a subtle form of self-sabotage that convinces you that change is optional when, in reality, it is essential. To become unrecognizable in just 1 week, the first step is to make a hard, non-negotiable decision that you are done being who you were yesterday. It is not about wishing for change or thinking about it vaguely. It is about standing up in your mind and declaring that the old version of you no longer gets the steering wheel. This decision is immediate, unwavering, and absolute. You must understand that change is not gradual in this sense. It begins the moment you commit fully, without loopholes, without conditions, and without delay. Every second spent hesitating is a second wasted, and 1 week is not a lot of time to transform. When you make this decision, you are acknowledging a truth that most avoid. You have been living beneath your potential. That recognition may feel uncomfortable, because it forces you to confront all the ways you have held yourself back, the habits, the fears, the comfort zones that have kept you from growing. But discomfort is the companion of progress, and in this discomfort lies the power to reinvent yourself. Once you decide to change, you also decide to stop making excuses. No more blaming circumstances, no more waiting for the perfect conditions, no more convincing yourself that later will be easier. Later is a myth, the moment for change is now. Your mind will resist. Your old habits will whisper in your ear, tempting you to retreat to familiarity. That is, when you must remind yourself that the person you want to become does not live in comfort zones. They thrive on challenge, they embrace risk, and they understand that identity is built, not inherited. Deciding to change also means defining the new version of yourself. You cannot simply erase the old without imagining the new. Who do you want to be in 1 week? What will your actions look like? How will you carry yourself? How will you respond to challenges? Visualization is not enough unless paired with absolute commitment. Your decision is the first act of rebellion against the version of you that settled, that procrastinated, that tolerated mediocrity. It is a declaration that 1 week from now, people will look at you and see someone they have never met, and more importantly, that you will see yourself differently in the mirror. The moment you stop negotiating with your old self, you create space for extraordinary growth, for intensity, for focus, and for transformation. Change begins with a choice, and that choice is yours to make. Once made, there is no turning back, and the path to becoming unrecognizable begins immediately. Control your mornings, control your mindset is one of the most powerful truths you can embrace if you want to become unrecognizable in just 1 week. The way you start your day determines the way you think, the way you act, and ultimately, the results you create. Mornings are not just a time on the clock, they are a foundation, a launch pad for your entire day. If you give them away to distraction, hesitation, or lethargy, you give away your power. But if you take control, you set the tone for excellence. To control your mornings, you must first understand that the first hour of your day is the most important. It is when your mind is fresh, when your energy is untapped, and when your focus is most malleable. This is the time to decide what kind of person you are going to be, not by chance, not by default, but deliberately. Waking up early is not about punishing yourself. It is about giving yourself a head start, a margin to plan, to move, and to take action before the noise of the world invades your focus. The rituals you choose in the morning are not trivial. They are declarations of identity. If you begin with clarity, discipline, and purpose, you are programming your mind to act from that state all day. Exercise, even for just a few minutes, ignites energy and signals to your brain that you are capable and active. Journaling or planning your day crystallizes intention and prevents drift. Reading or listening to something that inspires and challenges you sharpens your mindset. These actions, taken consistently, even for 1 week, compound in ways you cannot ignore. Controlling your morning also means controlling your inputs. What you consume mentally and emotionally in the first moments after waking has a direct impact on your mood, your decisions, and your productivity. Avoid immediately checking social media, emails, or news, because these things are designed to scatter your focus and feed your old habits. Instead, feed your mind with things that elevate you, that challenge you, and that prepare you for the transformation you are pursuing. The discipline of morning control is not just about routine, it is about reclaiming your power and setting a precedent for the rest of your day. When you start with intention, every small decision after that becomes easier. You move faster, think clearer, and act with confidence. Within a week, the difference is visible not just in your productivity, but in your energy, your presence, and the way people perceive you. The person who controls their mornings becomes someone who does not wait for life to happen, they create it. By mastering your mornings, you are mastering your mind, and by mastering your mind, you are mastering your life. Every day is a choice, and the morning is where the first choice is made. Make it count, make it intentional, and in doing so, you will begin to become unrecognizable, even to yourself, in just 7 days. Eliminate distractions and cut off what's holding you back is a step that separates those who settle from those who transform. In order to become unrecognizable in just 1 week, You have to ruthlessly examine every element of your life that drains energy, scatters focus, or anchors you to your old self. Distractions are not just external, they are internal as well. Every mindless scroll through social media, every unnecessary argument, every habit that numbs rather than builds, acts like an invisible chain, keeping you tethered to yesterday. To break free, you must be honest about what is holding you back. This requires clarity, courage, and a willingness to feel discomfort. It is not enough to simply wish for more time or greater results. You must take decisive action to remove the obstacles standing between you and your potential. Start by identifying the external distractions that fragment your attention. That may mean turning off notifications, creating a space that promotes focus, or temporarily stepping away from people or environments that drain your energy. These actions are not selfish, they are necessary. Time is a finite resource, and the way you spend it determines whether you remain the same or evolve into someone new. Internal distractions are even more insidious because they often disguise themselves as legitimate reasons or priorities. Thoughts like, "I'm too tired, I'll do it later," or "I deserve a break," sound reasonable, but they are traps that reinforce your old habits. Recognize these thoughts, confront them, and replace them with action. The mind will resist, but resistance is a sign that you are on the right path. Cutting off what holds you back also means confronting fear, doubt, and limiting beliefs. These mental chains are often heavier than any external distraction. They whisper that change is too difficult, that failure is inevitable, or that you are not worthy of the transformation you seek. Challenge these lies relentlessly. Each time you push past fear, each time you reject doubt, you are reclaiming a piece of yourself that has been buried under hesitation. During this week, your commitment must be total. There is no room for compromise, no halfway attempts. Every decision should align with the person you are becoming, not the person you were. It is remarkable how quickly the mind and body respond when you remove distractions and negative influences. Focus sharpens, energy multiplies, and confidence builds because you are proving to yourself, repeatedly, that you are in control. By the end of the week, the accumulation of these small but powerful actions creates a visible transformation. You move with intention, think with clarity, and act with a decisiveness that surprises even you. Eliminating distractions and cutting off what holds you back is not a temporary measure. It is a declaration that you refuse to live by old rules, old habits, or old limitations. This is the foundation for becoming unrecognizable, not just in appearance or behavior, but in mindset, energy, and purpose. Once you commit to this level of focus, the world itself begins to shift around you, reflecting the new person you are becoming. Do the hard things daily, especially when you don't feel like it is the defining principle that separates ordinary effort from extraordinary transformation. Change does not happen in comfort. Becoming unrecognizable in just 1 week is not about taking small, easy steps. It is about deliberately choosing the actions that push you beyond your limits, even when your body resists, even when your mind complains, and especially when your emotions plead for the familiar and the easy. Most people avoid difficulty, waiting for motivation to appear, but motivation is a fickle companion. It comes and goes, and if you rely on it, you will never reach the level of transformation you seek. Discipline, on the other hand, is reliable. Discipline is doing what must be done, even when it feels uncomfortable, inconvenient, or unpleasant. Each day, there will be moments when you want to quit, when the effort feels too heavy, when your excuses sound convincing. It is precisely in these moments that the real work of transformation occurs. The human mind craves ease and routine, but growth demands challenge. Hard things strengthen your character, sharpen your focus, and expand the boundaries of what you believe is possible. To do the hard things daily, start by identifying the tasks, behaviors, and habits that you have been avoiding, the ones that scare you, intimidate you, or require courage. These may be physical challenges like exercising or pushing your body to limits you thought you couldn't reach. They may be mental challenges like learning something new, confronting fears, or making decisions you have delayed. They may be emotional challenges like having difficult conversations, letting go of toxic relationships, or facing uncomfortable truths about yourself. Whatever form they take, these are the actions that will reshape who you are. Doing hard things also builds momentum. Each small victory accumulates, giving you confidence and proof that you are capable of more than you imagined. It rewires your brain to embrace challenge instead of avoid it, creating a feedback loop of growth and courage. Importantly, doing hard things daily is not a one-time effort, it is a habit. Consistency is the secret ingredient. One act of bravery, one act of focus, or one act of discipline may change a day, but repetition changes identity. Every day you push yourself to do what others won't, you carve out a version of yourself that is stronger, sharper, and more resilient. By the end of a week of relentless effort, people will notice the difference in your energy, your confidence, and your presence. You will notice it first in yourself. You will carry an intensity, a purpose, and a self-assuredness that were previously dormant. Doing hard things daily teaches a lesson that no book or lecture can. Growth is not passive, comfort is not productive, and transformation is earned. If you want to become unrecognizable, you must embrace the difficult, the uncomfortable, and the challenging. The week will be grueling, the days long, and the temptations to revert will be strong, but the rewards are undeniable. When you do the hard things, even when you don't feel like it, you discover strength, resilience, and a version of yourself that you never knew existed. That is how true change is forged. End the week strong, proving to yourself who you really are is the final and most crucial step in a transformation that takes only 7 days. The journey to becoming unrecognizable is not a one-off event, but a process of deliberate choices, relentless discipline, and courageous action, and the conclusion of that week is where all the effort coalesces into undeniable results. To end the week strong means more than simply completing tasks or surviving the challenges you have set for yourself. It means standing firmly in the version of yourself you have been building every day, embracing the strength, focus, and resilience you have cultivated, and refusing to let the old habits, doubts, or fears creep back in. The way you finish a week defines the trajectory of your future, because momentum is real, and the energy you carry at the end of a concentrated period of growth determines how far you will continue to rise. Throughout the week, you have made decisions that tested your limits, that required sacrifice, and that demanded consistent effort. Now, in these final hours and days, you must consolidate that progress, not by slowing down, not by settling into complacency, but by giving everything you have left. This is the time to reflect on what has worked, what has challenged you the most, and what moments defined your transformation. Reflection is not just thinking about the past, it is an active acknowledgement of the effort, courage, and growth you have demonstrated. By consciously recognizing your progress, you reinforce the mental and emotional changes that will make your transformation permanent. Ending the week strong also requires intention. You cannot simply coast on the efforts of the past 6 days. You must intentionally choose the actions, the mindset, and the behaviors that align with the person you want to be. This may mean waking up earlier, pushing harder during the day, committing fully to your workouts or learning, or finally confronting a challenge you have been avoiding. It may mean showing up fully in relationships, speaking your truth, or making a decisive move that cements your growth. Whatever form it takes, the key is absolute presence and accountability. To prove to yourself who you really are, you must also measure the tangible results of your transformation. This is not about external validation, but about internal proof. Look in the mirror and see the changes in your posture, your energy, your confidence. Assess the habits you have built, the knowledge you have gained, the focus you have maintained, and the discipline you have enforced. These are the markers of a new identity, not just temporary improvements. The physical, mental, and emotional shifts you have achieved are evidence that you are capable of becoming someone entirely different. Someone stronger, sharper, and more purposeful than you were at the start of the week. Ending strong also requires gratitude and self-recognition. Acknowledge that this process was not easy, that it demanded sacrifice and courage, and that you persevered even when you did not feel like it. Gratitude is not passive, it is an acknowledgement of your own agency, a recognition that you have chosen transformation rather than stagnation. By doing so, you reinforce your sense of empowerment and solidify the identity you are stepping into. Importantly, ending the week strong is not the end of the journey, but a powerful declaration that transformation is possible. It sets a new standard for how you approach life, how you respond to challenges, and how you engage with your own potential. The person you have become in these 7 days is not bound by the limitations of the past. They carry a mindset of possibility, resilience, and intentionality that will continue to shape every choice and every action moving forward. In these final moments, you prove to yourself that you are no longer defined by your old habits, fears, or excuses. You are a new person, one capable of extraordinary growth, relentless focus, and unwavering discipline. That proof, that undeniable recognition of your own strength, is the ultimate reward of the week. Ending the week strong is a commitment to your future self, a signal that the transformation you have begun is permanent, and that you have the courage, skill, and determination to continue evolving beyond what you ever thought possible. By standing in your power, taking full responsibility for your actions, and showing up with unwavering commitment, you ensure that the person looking back at you in the mirror is someone unrecognizable from who you were 7 days ago, a person capable of achieving far more than you ever imagined.